Hey, what's up? The #1 independent newspaper in Palo Alto. Jonathan Fibonojji. Yeah, I'm so excited. Finally landed the big time. You know, San Francisco Chronicle, they were like, you know, Jonathan, we kind of prefer a more leftist perspective, and you give awards to really bad CEOs. Like, no, seriously, I think Mark Zuckerberg might be the worst CEO in the world. Okay, so this Fibonojji, hello, I'm Jonathan Fibonojji. Little selfie action. No, really, dude. The worst CEOs in the world. Go, top 5. You know, there's the HP chick. I think she ran for like president or something. Here you go. Put me down. Here you go. City Council to review Marissa Mayer's plan. The former Yahoo CEO, Marissa Mayer. I mean, hot as fuck. I mean, hot. Call me, baby. I mean, seriously. But she was like, I think, the worst CEO in the world. And she's turning, like, she's going to buy a mortuary, and then she's going to turn into kind of like a chick. Kind of like a little, you know, bunch of chicks get together and talk about how they're disenfranchised. But she might be the worst CEO in the world, next to Mark Zuckerberg. What's your opinion on Mark Zuckerberg? Mr. Fourth Amendment. And I saw this. I mean, this is news that matters. I don't know what kind of channel you're watching. This is Jonathan Fibonojji. Talk about all kinds of things. And sometimes these local newspapers, like even the UCLA Daily Bruin, old school journalism. The UCLA basketball player found dead at home. His mother called the police on him. I thought that was an interesting... There you go. I'm doing a couple series on YouTube. Hello, I'm Jonathan Fibonojji. Kind of a YouTube documentarian. I'm talking about important stories. And there are important stories. And be the change I wish to see and all that rah-rah stuff. And who's the best basketball player of all time? I don't know. I named my son Jordan. I'll talk about this. Kind of my own story. Jonathan Fibonojji. Check this out. It's one of my signs. Humboldt or hamburgers. You're like, what? Is this homeless documentarian guy? No, I hitchhiked to Humboldt, baby. That was my hitchhiking sign. Going up the 101. There you go. You ever hitchhike? It's one of the best things in the world. You haven't really seen a city, or you haven't even really seen a region until you've walked it. San Francisco, one of my favorite cities of all time. Asian invasion. Holy shit, it's difficult to work in this city. Just a weekend warrior documentarian. It's Freddie Roach. Boxing. I think we need to bring boxing back. You know, fighting. Pugilism. What's the word? I think it's called pugilism. I think journalism is its own form of pugilism, or the study of fighting. And how the Fourth Amendment doesn't even matter anymore. And how these CEOs, these female CEOs, you know, remember, we live in the Me Too world. This is how we treat really bad CEOs. They make tons of money, and where's Yahoo today? Where's Yahoo today? There's no reason Yahoo should not have won, or at least been a contender. Tell me your opinion. Who are the top 5 best CEOs? And who are the top 5 worst CEOs of all time? Dana White, UFC, has to be on your top 5. Of course, that's my opinions. Jonathan Fibonojji. Maybe there's a story in your neck of the woods you think it's interesting, kind of Fibonojji worthy. You know, where I'm telling the real story of real life communities. It's Durango, Colorado. That's really where I fell in love with journalism. I kind of was an accidental journalist. I took this recently at the California Academy of Science Museum. That's a jellyfish. If you haven't gone to the planetarium, you need to go see that. It's amazing. Here you go, Jonathan Fibonojji. Thank you for taking this journey with me. Email me, americano417@gmail.com. Independent YouTube journalist. Maybe future. What do you think? All right, you guys be good. Thank you for taking this journey with me. And all my rambles, the things I'm trying to highlight. Okay, cuteness alert. Sorry, guys. Boom. That's a little baby fox. And gorgeous. Email me at americano417@gmail.com. And if you like this content, share it. Where's this? Barcelona, baby. Man, how I would love to see that place. The Sagrada Familia. What is that? Who is God's architect? Who's Gaudi? This channel will make you smart. I'll make you think. This gorgeous. That's a church. Well, I take that back. That's a basilica in Spain called the Sagrada Familia. There are churches and there are basilicas, and this is a basilica. Such a gorgeous story. It's a structure that's still under construction today. And then sometimes you just need some beautiful. I'll bring that too. But for now, we'll just start with the worst CEOs of all time. I would love for Melissa, what's her name? Marissa Mayer. Who am I ragging on here? Love to hear her perspective on the Me Too movement. And I would love to get Carly Fiorina. What's her name? The HP chick, Carly Fiorina. She ran for president. I'd like to get Marissa and, of course, the Facebook CEO and talk about the Me Too movement. And are women truly disenfranchised in San Francisco? And who are the homeless? And hint, statistically, homelessness is a male thing. It's a masculine journey. And there are people in San Francisco, or maybe even in your town, that are literally hungry right now. And the way we treat even bad CEOs is well, it's unconscionable. I know. You're like Jonathan Fibonojji. We love your photography. But will you just please tell us how to... Oh, I saw this. Check this out. A victim struck. Now, I like this. I mean, this is kind of such a sad story. I may have to tweet this. Megan Cassidy, Aaron Stone. This is a story, a real life story out here in San Francisco. A homeless man was sleeping in a parking garage, and he was run over. Now, riddle me this, Batman. You know, how do you run over somebody in a parking garage? Now, there's getting struck by a vehicle, then there's getting run over. The victim's name, the homeless gentleman, his name is Jonathan Jones. He was run over, and of course nothing happened to the person that ran over or murdered. Are we calling it murder? I took this out in Malibu, California. If you're new to this channel, I talk a lot about gender rights and gender equality and how even the war on men, even sometimes for a public restroom. Again, homelessness is about men, and you shouldn't really care about the men's right movement unless you have sons because your sons will inherit this court system. Remember this story, Rosa Parks? This is just a woman that said, no more, I'm done. I'm going to keep my seat. I'm not standing up for nobody. Well, the new refugee are men and white men. I saw this. This is such a terrible story. I mean, this is a beautiful, beautiful Jesus angel. I think his name is Botham Jean. He was 26 years old. He went to Harding University, which is, well, he's a Christian. I think Harding is in what? Arkansas? But this guy, this beautiful angel, was an accountant. He was a member of the Dallas West Church of Christ. He was an accountant, and he was shot to death in his own apartment in a nice part of town by a Dallas police officer who incorrectly thought she was walking into her apartment. And he was killed in his own apartment. And how it's real interesting how we'll like these things or we'll comment, we'll talk about how terrible they are. But let me ask you a question. Is there a mechanism at your local police department level where you can address on the federal level of police misconduct? I know. Eventually, we'll have to take action. Eventually. I guess that's what happens to everybody, right? You start talking about Jesus and making sure police are held accountable. Well, Jonathan Fibonojji. You can just call me John. When we become friends, until then, go feed a homeless person today, wherever you're at. Just go buy them lunch. Maybe it's just a simple lunch. Maybe it's, I know, homeless people matter. Go fund me. Email me, Americana417@gmail.com. Americana417@gmail.com. Who are the top 5 best and 5 worst CEOs of all time? Or let's just say like the last, say, 100 years. And why? I would love to hear your thinking. Howard Schultz, baby. He's one of the best ones of all time. Dana White, making it easy for you guys. Howard Schultz, Dana White. Who'd be the other 3 best? Look at this guy. He may be our next president. What do you think about that, Howard Schultz? I was always a Ben Carson fan, but I think what Howard Schultz is doing for homelessness, whether people want to acknowledge it or not, you know, he is one of the few CEOs, Jewish CEOs. He's a good Jew. There are good Jews, and this is a really good Jew. And he took a stance for homelessness, and he shut everything down and made a point. Marin Independent Journal. Oh, by the way, if you run one of these little local rags, like these Marin Independent Journal, or maybe a San Francisco Chronicle, or the New York Times, you need a syndicated columnist, kind of like an Argus Hamilton type, kind of a comic with a point of view and a Nikon. Email me, Americana417@gmail.com. I'd love to be a freelance photographer, journalist. I know. Start talking about constitutional stuff. Nobody cares about the Constitution. Does the Fourth Amendment even matter anymore? Does the... Well, speaking of bad CEOs, this was a really good CEO. You know, I talked about how there's good and there's bad. Yes, I think Mark Zuckerberg's a terrible CEO because of what he's doing to the Fourth Amendment, but there are good CEOs. In the Trader Joe's story, you haven't lived until you've lived in San Francisco and gone into a Trader Joe's. It's almost like a cult-like following. You guys be good. Thank you for taking this journey with me. Homeless people get $5. If you know a local editor that's looking for a photographer, someone to talk about more than just how wonderful the real estate prices are. And San Francisco is a beautiful town. I mean, I love San Francisco. It's gorgeous. But what's happening politically and economically, and the Asian invasion, and how white people simply are not employed in this beautiful... Well, San Francisco is gorgeous because it's a former United States city. I mean, we're still a part of the United States, but San Francisco is at least 15 years ahead of the rest of the nation. So what's happening here is going to happen there. So when I talk about this, and I show you how men are losing restrooms, and you think that's kind of boring, well, what happens when men lose constitutional rights? And what's the Me Too movement? You know, how important that really is. All right, you guys be good. Email me, Americano417 @gmail.com.